Welcome back, all my 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here at Tim's Nation, joined by little Sophia. Leia is upstairs eating, and, well, Sophia's wide awake and just wanted some attention, wanted some time. So I said, hey, you know what? I got to talk about Necrons. So this video going out for my cronies, Sophia decided she's going to visit today and hang out with me, and we're going to talk about the Necron list that I'm going to be taking against Lane and his DeathGuard. Lane asked me to play Necrons, since my Canopic Court does have a pretty good amount of firepower in it, to be able to run into his DeathGuard before the team tournament. This will be the last in the trilogy of the DeathGuard. Yeah, I mean, there are some models that still need some work, obviously, but I've been hard at work on my World Eaters, so hopefully we'll have those here on the channel again real soon. Some paint, make some nice little montage. I got some stuff in the works with that. But today it's about the Necrons. So the last time I ran them, things did not go too well. I made a couple changes. It was the first change for the edition, and it didn't go too well for our green boys. We ended up losing the title to Lane and what will now be Space Marines, since the Death Watch are defunct. But the Necrons, I still like my Canopic Court build. I just needed to change the idea of how I was going to play this. With some of the secondary changes and having to complete actions and the OC values, I needed to kind of rethink some of my battle plans and strategies, where in the previous iteration of this game, before Pariah Nexus, it was a lot easier to take cheap 0 OC units and some small units that could do an objective in some way, shape, or form and still contribute to the overall game. So, with that being said, ready to tell them what we're bringing today? All right. Sophia's excited. Can't you tell? She's just clinging to me in excitement. Let's go take a look at these Necrons and what I'm going to be playing today. All right. Here it is, the Canopic Court that I call the Canopic Harvest. For those who don't know, the Canopic Court is the Necrons detachment that gives you full rerolls to hit. Well, you get reroll ones to hit all the time, but you get full rerolls to hit if you're in one of your power matrix. What is a power matrix? Well, your home deployment zone is always a power matrix. If you control at least half the objectives in No Man's Land is a power matrix. And your opponent's, if you control your opponent's objective marker, then that is also a power matrix. So we're going to be trying to get those so we can get full rerolls to hit and army-wide. Now, let's talk about some of the units that we're bringing here today. First things first, the Canopic Doomstalkers. If there's anything that really utilizes this buff the best, the Canopic Doomstalkers are one of them. The Canopic Doomstalkers are the high strength, high AP, flat 3 damage, long range guns, normally hitting on 4s. Sitting still, we can hit on 3s, so they do have heavy. D6 +1 shots with blast, so these things are good into armor as well as infantry with that blast mechanic. These guys have been a linchpin in this army with their ability to have a 5-up Overwatch. That's right, a 5-up Overwatch that they do still get the full rerolls to hit. So these guys can take units out that move, deep strike, anything. These guys are really strong, really sturdy. I really love them. Next up, Wraiths. Wraiths are the backbone of this army. They're not battle line, but they are kind of in that position of battle line style units. The Canopic Wraiths have a 4-up invulnerable save. They will be led by a Technomancer, which will give them a 5-up feel no pain, and they're 4 wounds apiece with a toughness 6. Now in combat, which is where they do have a pistol, so they can shoot 3 shots, it is strength 5 with devastating wounds. With the full rerolls to hit, help to make it a little more accurate, because the weapon skill and ballistic skill on these guys is a 4. In combat, little lacking there. They have strength 6, AP 1, flat 2 damage. The reroll hits really do help, and the flat 2 damage is nice. These guys are OC2, which plays into some of the tricks that I like to use with the Canopic Scarabs. But mostly these guys are just a pain to try to remove. So they get on an objective and they just sit there. They're able to do secondaries, hold objective markers, and just be really, really annoying to get through. Next up, we have we'll go over to the Canopic Scarabs. Now, Canopic Scarabs, I'm taking 2 6-mans. These are OC 0. However, a couple things they do. One, they explode at the beginning of the fight phase, yours and mine, to do potentially mortal wounds. These guys have lethal hits with 6 attacks. Again, remember that rerolls to hit for Canopic units that I can gain means that these guys can have full rerolls on their 6 attacks for lethal, so it doesn't matter as much that they're only strength 2. Now, while these guys are OC 0, if they're near a Cryptech model, like the Technomancers leading the Wraiths, they will gain OC 1. On top of that, anything that they're within engagement range with will reduce their OC by 1. So these guys help to allow the Wraiths to be able to take over the objective to give us that Canopic control going into that turn. On top of it, the spiders can put them back. Each individual spider model that is within range can put a Scarab base back. Yeah, I know. Isn't that exciting? You hear little Sophia. She's excited about it. And yeah, that's my Scarabs. Speaking about them, we'll go over to them next. We have 6 Canopic spiders. I love the spiders. These are a polarizing unit. Some people aren't. Do not like them as much. But man, these guys just do it all. They give a feel no pain to the entire army against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. They give a 6-up, and that's a 5-up. They give a 6-up feel no pain to vehicles, which they're vehicles themselves. They have a gun that is actually 2 separate guns per model that is D6 shots with blast. So what I like to say is that this unit, going into a 20-man brick, it's 16 plus 4d6 shots. On top of it, that gun actually hits on 3s and has devastating wounds. So this is another devastating wound mechanic that my army can bring. It's tough to kill. It's always a heartbreak to most of my opponents when they take out 1 spider and then I can reanimate 1 back. So definitely love these guys. And again, they are able to pick up and bring the Scarabs back down and put the Scarabs down. And can't see this right now, but Sophia is loving them because she is reaching for those spiders. I know. She's a newborn, so she really can't tell, but man, she is loving these spiders. Let's see. We'll go over to the characters. As I said, I have 2 Technomancers. We also have a Psychomancer. Technomancers are kind of self-explanatory as far as it is for Necrons. The Technomancers are given a feel no pain for the Wraiths. And on top of the fact that they have the, they are able to keep up with the move, and they can heal for 3 D3 to a unit that they're nearby. So helps to heal the Wraiths, helps to heal vehicles, other stuff like that. Now, it's not a reanimation, so I can't bring guys back with it, but it's nice if I have a Wraith on like 1 wound after reanimation, I can heal it up a little bit. The Psychomancer is a tool that Lane absolutely loves. I dropped 1 from before and just have the 1 in there. You had 2 before, so just have 1. Now, the Psychomancer can target things out of line of sight with an 18 at the beginning of any of my phases, basically, and make them take a battle shock test at -1. If a unit within 6 inches takes a battle shock, it's additional -1. And what makes this really nice is it's the ability to hit a unit with this ability. And if they fail their battle shock, now defensive strats can't target it, which means that I can sometimes pick up that unit much easier for a lot less resources. On top of the fact, he also works well with the Scarabs. So if I need to do something with the Scarabs and I need them to be an OC value, he can give them that OC value. Next up, we have the, let's see, we did all the old, let's go to the new. So let's start with 10 flayed ones. So, flayed ones. Flayed ones are interesting, and I'm very interested to see how they do today. Flayed ones are 1 wound models, toughness 4, the 4-up save. Not very durable. They do have reanimation protocols. They also have stealth and infiltrate. So these guys are -1 to hit, and they can be put in a really good position to allow me to do secondaries and stuff like that. Something I forgot to mention is that one of my Wraiths, or one of my Technomancers, does have the infiltration relic. So my Wraiths will be infiltrating, and so will these guys. These guys can provide a much needed screen. Now, why take 10, not 5? I feel like I've taken 5 in the past, and the 5-man just gets kind of nuked off way too quickly. Just obliterated off the table like nothing. That toughness 4, even with the stealth, they just get obliterated. So by taking 10 of them, they can, oh, bless you. Bless you. Oh, little Sophia's got a little sneeze in her. By taking the 10-man, I feel like they can survive long enough to allow me to screen, complete actions, and then because of the single wound models, I can reanimate and get those guys back if my opponent ignores them long enough. So these guys are in here for secondaries. And the last unit that's being added for secondaries is probably one of the best secondary units in the Necrons army, and that is 3 Ophidian destroyers with a plasma sight. Ophidian's combat profile is meh. You know, they can hit some lower armor troops pretty decently because they have a lot of attacks. But the big reason we are taking them is because they are a unit that can leave the battlefield at the end of my opponent's turn and be placed back down. So this is a unit that's in my hand. When I draw my cards, I go, okay, where do I need to put this unit to complete these secondaries? And that's what these guys are here for. And there's a lot of value behind that style of unit since I don't have a lot with that elsewise. So these are going to be the guys that are going to do that for me today. And that is the list. So this is the first time that Sophia has actually been in my studio. And I know she's a newborn and everything, but man, her eyes, she is going nuts. She's looking at everything like, whoa, look at that. Look at all these toys. And, you know, because she's a baby, I'm thinking the first thing she's thinking, of course, because she's a little baby. There's only one thing she sees when she sees all these models, all these dice. I know I'm talking about you. All the models, all the dice, all the little action figures. You know and I know there's only one thing she's thinking. Dad, when do I get my first army? And you know what? As soon as you want, sweetheart, you can have whatever you want. You and Leia, you know, you can play whatever you want, as long as it's not Death Watch, because, well, they're not around anymore. Sorry, Lane. Had to, because you have my title belt. All right. So what I'm planning on doing with this list today, we are going to... Ooh, she's excited. That's what she wants to know. I'm going to take tactical secondaries. I have a lot more to work off of to be able to play the secondaries, and I don't want to telegraph to my opponent what I'm doing early. With the infiltrations that I have and the Ophidians, I can move around the table pretty efficiently, and I think that's what we're going to try and do today. Lane playing his DeathGuard. DeathGuard do not do well against range combat, so my Canopic Doomstalkers should be able to really wreak havoc on his list. She just ate, so she's got the hiccups. Aw, poor little baby. But yeah, that's really about it. You know, I know a lot of people, you guys have followed in the channel with some of the stuff I've done with the Necrons, and the list is very similar. So we're definitely, that's what we're going to be looking into trying to do today. Hopefully it'll work out. And yeah, not much else to say. We're going to say the rest on the table. And I'm going to go let this one try and get rid of her hiccups. All right, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.